Hello everyone, my name is Rudo. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. And if you are new and you like what I'm going to talk about, please make sure that you subscribe. So today I'm going to be talking about the lessons that I derived from the assessment of professional competence journey. So to give you a backstory, I recently qualified as a chartered accountant after passing my December 2020 exam. Okay, this is where we celebrate. Yay! Yeah, so I just wanted to share what I learned so that someone out there can do better than I did based on my experiences. Okay, so I wrote it down so that I don't get carried away. I basically have like 5 key lessons, and these may become more as we continue, but for today we're just going to discuss these 5 things, and I hope that they can help someone. So as always, as an auditor, there's a disclaimer there, which is this is entirely based on my experience and what I think. So don't take it as statements of facts, but basically as guidance from one student to another. So let's get into it. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is starting early. If you are working full-time, which is mostly the case if you're writing the APC, because you don't do so unless you've done some training. So obviously you're probably in some type of employment or training. You need to still know that you need to start early. So whether you're doing your professional development course with APT or with UCT or other institutions that offer that training, you need to start early. This is because what I realized is that training is meant to help you become professionally competent. So if you start off when you're slacking, right, and then later in the year you then want to get in the groove and start doing things, it means that you have missed a phase, and you're going to be doing what you're supposed to have happened in terms of your mind, how you're thinking, how you look at things, how you deal with things. In terms of what was supposed to happen over 6 months, you want to do it over 3 months. So once that happens, it's going to be very difficult for you. Now, if for some reasons you have started late, not all hope is lost, but you have to put in extra effort. But I'm thinking right now, it's not late. You just started and you can do it. So make sure that you consistently follow through so that you give yourself time to understand the process. It's important to understand the process. You can't just jump in the deep end and start doing it and start knowing it. Some people can. They're gifted like that. But for the ordinary student like me and you, let's go through the process, okay? So that's my first lesson. Go through the process so that you don't then have to struggle to understand what is going on later throughout the process. The next thing I'm going to talk about is group work. People are different, and when you join a group or when you start a group, you need to know what you are expecting from your group mates. Now, everyone, when you ask them why you need groups for APC, people usually talk about research and that someone can research on this, someone can research on that. Ultimately, you're supposed to do all the research on your own. So you can't get into a group entirely to mooch off someone's research, basically. You need to get in there because you understand that you are technically weak somewhere, or you understand that this person, in terms of knowing legal frameworks or something like that, researching in this kind of way, they can help you out, they can teach you how to research. This person knows how to synthesize information. This person knows their text legislation and can help you understand how it fits into this. This person does this. Those are the strengths that you're looking at. You need to know what, as an individual, you want to benefit from a group. And if it's possible, you can actually communicate with each other that, you know what, my issue is, you just wrote CTA and ITC. Your technical is still very fresh. I wrote my IATC and CTA 2 years ago. My technical is a bit rusty. I need you to assist me to brush up on my technical aspects. That's what you need from a group. Don't blindly just get into a group so that you think that, someone can do your research for you. Okay. Because you realize that research makes things get into your head and you need more of stuff in your head than in a file. But that is a story for another day. Today, we're talking about this, and let's move on to point number 3. So number 3 is to be 100% confident of your technical which has been triggered. So I think I've already touched a little bit about that when I was talking about group work and why you need groups. So you get your pre-release. Either it's in the assessment or in the final exam. When you get your pre-release and you read through it, you're going to identify triggers. And once you do, for example, IFRS 15, IFRS 16, IS 38, and all those other standards have been triggered. In the management accounting discipline, maybe relevant costing and standard costing and valuations have been triggered. Don't go into an exam not knowing everything that can be possibly known about what has been triggered about that particular standard. If it's IFRS 15 and they have triggered performance obligation, you're going to know everything that has to do with a performance obligation before you get into an exam. When you get into the exam, you have no time to start opening the standard and trying to synthesize information. You only have time to say, okay, fine, this is the information that I've been given. What has been changed is that the performance obligation is now not over time and not at a point in time. So how do we treat it now that we're saying it has changed? And you're saying you already have the answer to that. You are choosing, okay, you have noticed what has changed, you already know how it's supposed to be treated, and you write it down. You don't have to. So that is why we are saying that you are being given time to prepare, you are being given pre-release information, you are being given time to research. Time to research is to make sure that you know how the transaction is treated. So don't get into an exam not fully knowing what that standard that has been triggered, how something is going to be treated under that standard. You might even, it might not be clear what exactly is going to happen. So there might be 4 possible scenarios. Know all those 4 possible scenarios and how those possible scenarios are accounted for. You need to know it. Because like I've said, you don't have time to then be thinking about it in the exam. I say that because in assessment 2, I got a conditional competent and said to do the sub. And I knew it was because I got into the assessment. There were certain things that I knew, that I kind of knew, and then I had to start thinking, I ran out of time because I was thinking, yeah, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. No, when you're in the assessment, it's no longer time to doubt yourself. You had time to prepare. You are supposed to know how this is being treated, based on the information that you've gathered through your research. Okay. Number 4 is to practice your trigger identification. So for me, I think that's where you get it. If you understand your trigger identification, if you identify the right triggers, which is why I was saying you need to start early so that you learn how to do it. If you master that art, you should be good to go, because it will affect and influence how you do your research. It will affect and influence how you answer your questions. So it is really important to master that technique. Okay? And then the fifth one is time management. So I believe time management is a combination of everything that I have already spoken about. If you start early in your studies, if you maximize on your group, if you know how to identify triggers correctly, if you know how to, if you've researched on your technical, then you can manage your time wisely. So if you what you do is you get your tasks, and when you get your task, you already know that, you know what, I'm going to need 40 minutes on this task. This one is just like maybe an ethics question, or it's a fourth industrial revolution question. I'm going to need 20 minutes to type it out. So, you know, I'm going to allocate it little time. Don't say you've got 8 hours, 8 divided by 8 tasks. I'm going to have 1 hour per task. It mustn't work like that, because you know that some tasks are demanding than others. And also, if you, in a day-to-day basis, you don't type, practice typing, so that you don't, you know, if you remember, if you've watched Trevor Noah, he's like this joke that he has of the former president Jacob Zuma was saying he doesn't know how to type, and you'll be like, where's the J, you know, yeah, you don't want to be looking for, you know, keyboard keys in there and on the exam. You don't want to be doing that. You need to be sure where everything is. And yeah, so I think basically those are my lessons. I hope that they can help you. I am going to be doing more videos on APC, CTA, ITC. So if you are in this CA journey and you want someone to talk to about these things through these videos, I'm your girl. So make sure you subscribe. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video up until the very end. I wish you the very best in your APC journey, and I hope